So when the Lord is saying, I'm going to put you back in Egypt, what he's saying is, I'm going to put you back in slavery. What did the Lord just say he was going to use to bring us back into captivity?
With ships.
Who does that fall under? The black man. The Hispanic man. We were the ones that was transported on cargo slave ships.
Keys to the kingdom. We got the keys to the keys to the.
Exodus chapter 2. Deuteronomy 28:68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
Zadok, real question. Brother right here. I got one question for you. When the Hebrews was in Egypt, right? Are you familiar with that story with Moses, right? Yeah. So when the Hebrews was in Egypt, where were they? Were they slaves or were they just regular civilians? When the Hebrews was in Egypt under Pharaoh, were they slaves or were they just regular people?
Israelites.
I know they were Israelites, but were they enslaved? They was enslaved. So listen to what God is saying. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28:68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
So when the Lord is saying, I'm going to put you back in Egypt, what he's saying is, I'm going to put you back in slavery. Because remember, this is Moses talking to the Israelites. They just left Egypt. Right? Watch this. Read on.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
Again?
With ships.
With what?
With ships.
With what?
With ships.
How did we get to America? With ships. What did the Lord just say he was going to use to bring us back into captivity?
With ships.
Who does that fall under? The black man. The Hispanic man. We were the ones that was transported on cargo slave ships. Like sardines. That's what God is saying. So when people come up here and try to say that y'all are lying, well, you're just denying history.
Right.
This was prophesied at the time. This was a prophecy. It came to be as history as we know today. That's how you know this is a true book. When Christopher Columbus came over here, right? Now we're dealing with when Columbus Day. When Christopher Columbus got over here, they say he discovered America.
Stop the cap.
Okay. Was people already here when he got here? Yes. So how can you discover something and people are already here? If you at home, if y'all in y'all house, and I came and kicked your door in, and I said, and you sitting there around the TV with your family, and I said, damn, I just discovered this house. Meanwhile, you and your whole family is sitting in there while I'm so-called discovering it. You can't discover nothing that's already occupied.
That's right.
He came over here because he knew the Israelites was over here and he wanted to enslave them.
That's right.
He wanted to enslave us, our brothers and sisters.
That's right.
That's why he came over here. He had a Hebrew interpreter because the people over here were speaking Hebrew.
Right.
Let's get that. How did the so-called Native Americans get over here? The northern kingdom of Israel. How did they get over here? Because the Lord just prophesied how we got over here. He said we got over here on slave ships. So how did the what they call them, Aborigines, the original people that was here, how did they get here? Let's get that real quick, because I hear some doubt in the minds of the people. So let me get that.
2nd Ezra chapter 13 verse 40.
The Bible covers everything. Watch this.
Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king.
So we're reading about the 10 tribes of Israel. Remember, the Israelites, right, is our people, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? We're reading about the 10 tribes. Read.
In the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanazar, the king of Assyria, led away captive.
Read.
And he carried...
Because the Assyrian captivity, they took our brothers and sisters as slaves. Read.
And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel.
Our brothers took the counsel. When they got taken into slavery with the Assyrians, they took counsel with themselves, read on,
That they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
the multitude of the what?
Of the heathen.
So anybody outside of the nation of Israel, God considers heathen. We consider heathen. Read.
And go forth into a further country,
They say we're going to go forth into a further country. Read.
where never mankind dwelt.
Where nobody's ever dwelt before. Because before our people got over here, nobody was here. The Lord put it on their spirit to come here. Read.
That they might there keep their statutes.
The whole purpose of them wanting to leave is so they can keep the laws of God. Now they went off into idolatry eventually. But the reason the Lord put it on their spirit to come over here is because they must fulfill the prophecies that was written. So when Christopher Columbus comes over here and say, I discovered America, meanwhile he's seeing people walk up and down the street or the path the way we're looking at people in Silver Spring, how can you discover it? Read.
Which never kept them in their own land.
Read.
And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
It's even going into detail on how the so-called Hispanics got over here. The Native Americans got over here. Read.
By the narrow passages of the river.
Read.
For the Most High then showed signs for them,
Read.
and held still the flood till they were passed over.
Read.
But through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
Watch this.
And the same region is called Arsaris.
When you look at Arsaris, right, in the Jewish encyclopedia, it tells you that Christopher Columbus discovered this place using our scriptures. This place called America, the Bible prophesied and called it Arsaris. So when he knew exactly who he was coming for when he came over here. Like I said, I can't kick your door in with you living in your house and say, oh, I discovered this house. Meanwhile, you and your family is already sitting in there. That's what he did to this place. I discovered this place. Meanwhile, it's a whole civilization up by the time he came over here. Read that. Watch this.
This is from the Jewish encyclopedia. Arsaris, the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of restoration. Columbus, Columbus,
Christopher Columbus, who we celebrated in this country for hundreds of years, read,
identified America with this land.
Why do you wish to sail west?
To open a new route to Asia. Asia is the richest kingdom, the land of spices and gold. At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There is a third way. By sailing west across the ocean sea.
The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite.
Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands.
How can you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Esdras is a Jew.
So what's worse?
2 minutes, and already you're a dead man.
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. nation is you.
And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord